What is up, guys? Dakota here, and welcome back to the Driven Mad channel. So in today's video, I have finally added some new wheels to the Jeep. But before we talk about, what I went with, why I went with it, and all that stuff, I'm just gonna go ahead and show that to you guys. So go ahead and take a look.
Artlist.io.
Alright guys, so as you can see, I went with the Icon Rebound wheels in satin black. And now some of you are probably thinking, wait a minute, I've seen those wheels before, and I know that they're not a true beadlock, so why is this outer part red? Well, since there are a bunch of red accents kind of all over the Jeep, I kind of thought it'd be cool to have some part of the wheel be red. And I always like the way the beadlocks look. The problem is I just don't like how heavy beadlocks are, and not to mention they're also quite a bit more expensive than these were. So instead of throwing on a wheel that weighs a lot more and you can only go to certain shops to put on because not everybody's going to put a tire on a beadlock, I went with the Icon Rebound wheels. There's a plane flying over. All right, so the Icon Rebound wheels, I really like the way they look. They're just kind of simple, not too many spokes, which I like. And then what I did was actually plasti dip this ring. Now I didn't record that, and I'd never actually plasti dipped anything. I originally was going to get it powder coated, but I couldn't find anybody that was actually willing to powder coat this. So I was like, okay, well, worst case scenario, if I don't like it, it's plasti dip, so it will just peel right off. So I do got some pictures that I'll post on the screen here so you guys can see kind of just how I masked it. I didn't do a very good job because there's still some parts of the tire that have some red on them. So these wheels are, so far I really like them. Like I said, plasti dipped the outer ring. Took me a few days because I only had time to do one or two after work. And the masking part takes the most time. The actual plasti dipping itself doesn't. I waited about 30 minutes in between each coat, and then put about 4 coats on each tire, including the spare. Which, speaking of the spare, I know there's a lot of guys out there that will buy new wheels for their Jeep and then leave the spare the same. I, however, am not a fan of doing that. I like to just get all 5 done. So, but yeah, overall, I'm super happy with them so far. Now, as far as the specs of the wheels go, they are a 17, so I kept the same diameter because I didn't want to have to buy new tires after I just bought, these 35s. So they're 17 inches, but they're 8.5 inches wide instead of the factory's 7.5, so they're about an inch wider. I kind of wanted to go an inch wider simply because if and when I go to 37s, I don't have to change out the wheel, because with 37-inch tires, they suggest that the minimum requirement is an 8.5. But I just really like the stance of these wheels. So like I said, 17 inch by 8.5, and the offset is -6 millimeters. So as you guys can see here, they stick out just a little bit more than factory. Nothing crazy, which I really like. I didn't want anything that was out super far. Like I said, they stick out a little bit, and I believe the back spacing is 4.5 inches. I'll put it on the screen so you guys will know the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure it's 4.5 inches of back spacing. And I just really love the way they look. Now, I mentioned that I didn't want to get beadlocks because of weight, because obviously the more weight you add, the more stress it puts on the vehicle and the components. And then not to mention also that the suspension now has to deal with more weight. So it's not just the power and driving the wheels, it's also the suspension components have to deal with that weight coming up and down and controlling it. So these particular wheels, the stock wheels, I'll put it on the screen, but I want to say they were 22.2 pounds. The stock Rubicon wheels that came with my Jeep were 22.2 pounds. These, on their website, they say they're about 30 pounds. They're actually about 27.6, I want to say. So they're about 5 pounds heavier, which is not that big of a deal. And so far, I haven't noticed any major differences that I can at least tell for the first few days that I've had it. And what I'm kind of going to do is just go over, you know, kind of like I did with the tires. You know, we're going to see kind of if I notice anything as far as driving dynamics, you know, when we go on road trips and, you know, just back and forth. Did the extra weight make me feel like I need to re-gear at the moment? I don't think so. Because keep in mind, now per corner with the tire and the wheel, it's now about 20 pounds heavier per corner. So, you know, you've got the engine now has to rotate an extra 20 pounds whenever it's driving either in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive per corner, and the suspension now has to deal with that extra weight. So with that being said, also because like we talked about, they stick out a little bit wider, we're also going to take it off-road and do a little test and see if how the articulation is going to be affected, if it is affected at all, by them sticking out. Because then now, before, you know, it could go in here and it would have a little bit more room. Now that they're poked out a little bit, we might run into some rubbing issues. And if we do have some pretty substantial rubbing, then I'm probably going to go ahead and get a lift, because I am planning a pretty cool off-road trip that I think is going to be awesome. So I want to make sure that I can have as much flex as possible, because I don't want to get there and then realize that I made a mistake. Like I said, I'm super happy with them because they weren't very expensive compared to a lot of other wheels out there. Again, the Icon Vehicle Dynamics Rebound wheels in satin black is what I got. And so far, I'm extremely happy with them. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the little update. And if you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more videos. And also, if you have any questions about the wheels or anything, you know, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Artlist.io